you could bring in, and then he's either going to be disgruntled, not happy, could ask out again. He doesn't have a no trade clause, but he kind of has something similar to that right now.
So I think that's how my approach has been with this and will be with this, is we're going to be patient. We're going to do what's best for our team.
The Damian Lillard situation just got to a very uncomfortable point. And at this point, it looks like there's a chance that things could get really ugly between the Portland Trail Blazers and Damian Lillard. I'll tell you everything that we've got up until this point. Before we get to the content, we're still giving away $1,000 split between 5 subscribers that turn on my notifications for this channel. We're going to be announcing the next giveaway winners at 800,000 subscribers on my community tab. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I know what you guys are thinking. Over a week ago, we finally got the moment that we've all been begging Damian Lillard for. After being driven to a point of delusion where he's been saying that he wants to win a championship on the Portland Trail Blazers and that he was going to give them 2 to 3 years, quite literally, to build a contender around him. After they made it to the lottery last year and drafted Shaedon Sharpe with the number 7 overall pick, and then had Damian Lillard play the best season of his career this year and finish with the number 3 overall pick. After shutting down Damian Lillard to try to tank even further to improve their odds, Dame still said,
"Hey, if you trade the number 3 overall pick and get me a player that could help us contend, I would love to stay on Portland and try to win a championship."
Hell, Damian Lillard signed his career away up until his age 36 season. And bear in mind, 2 of those seasons are a supermax contract extension. And he didn't add a no trade clause into it the way Bradley Beal did with the Washington Wizards. So he can't really screw the Portland Trail Blazers here and force them to trade him where he wants to go for a package of second round picks and first round pick swaps. No, in this particular instance, Damian Lillard is more in the same situation that Kevin Durant was in with the Brooklyn Nets. Although the differences are that Damian Lillard is coming off of a career season for himself, whereas Kevin Durant is 34 years old going on to his age 35 season. He was coming off of a torn Achilles tendon a couple seasons prior. So there were some questions about KD's longevity. Hell, whenever you're trading for any player that's in his early to mid 30s, there should be questions about that player's longevity, which means the only teams that would be interested in trading for Damian Lillard would be teams that are trying to win a championship immediately, which gives us 3 teams that Dame could get traded to: Boston Celtics, Los Angeles Clippers, and the Miami Heat. According to Mark J. Spears, the Boston Celtics are trying to figure out a way to get Damian Lillard to Boston. After all, the Celtics have made multiple moves recently in order to stockpile some assets in the event that they would want to make such a move. For example, they recently traded Grant Williams to the Dallas Mavericks in a sign-and trade. In return, the Celtics received 3 second-round picks and were able to get out of Grant Williams' contract, considering the fact that they have to play by some new rules as a result of the brand new CBA. Furthermore, the Boston Celtics did the unthinkable. They traded away Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies. And in return for Marcus Smart, the Celtics were able to receive a top 4 protected pick in 2024, and obviously the number 25th pick in the 2023 draft, which was used already. So when you're shedding all of this salary, one would think that you're getting ready to make a big move. The problem is Damian Lillard might not want to go to the Boston Celtics. Check this out.
On their back channel research to find out what Dame is thinking. Would he want to play for us, whether it's the Celtics? It's been a resounding no.
Now, on the Pat McAfee show, Shams Charania didn't only say that Damian Lillard doesn't want to go to the Boston Celtics, he also said that another team that would be very interested in his services, the Los Angeles Clippers, who, by the way, have the assets to get a player of Damian Lillard's caliber. They have a lot of high-end role players, some of which used to be on the Portland Trail Blazers, might I add. And they have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are playing in a large market in Los Angeles. You could elevate a team that was considered to be the little brother in Los Angeles to potentially winning a championship. You have an incredible head coach in Ty Lue, but despite that, Damian Lillard doesn't want to go to the Clippers. Check this out.
Is going to go out and trade for superstar player. You usually want to back channel, do some research, see does this guy want to be here. So whether it's the Clippers that have had a level of interest in Dame Lillard, wants to be in Miami, period. And if you trade for him, I think there's the risk of trading for disgruntled player.
It gets even uglier, by the way, because I'm going to bring you a clip from Woj really soon that shows you that the Portland Trail Blazers might be trapped in this instance, or Damian Lillard might be trapped. A week ago, we got a report saying that if Damian Lillard lands with a team other than the Miami Heat, he won't report to training camp, per Mark G. Medina. He just wouldn't go. A person familiar with Damian Lillard's thinking told Sportsnaut just wouldn't report. I don't think the other team would trade for him knowing that he doesn't want to be there. A person familiar with Lillard's thinking told Sportsnaut he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, so they should respect his wishes. Man, this player empowerment thing has gone a little bit too far. Here's the thing. I am all for player empowerment. You have the right to choose whatever team you want to go to if you're willing to take less money. That's why they brought the Supermax contract to begin with. That way, if you stay with your existing team, you get rewarded with more money. The thing is, Damian Lillard decided to sign a Supermax contract with his existing team, which forfeits his right to choose his next team outright. So the Portland Trail Blazers don't owe Damian Lillard anything. The reason I'm saying this is, ironically, Damian Lillard roasted Paul George 3 seasons ago for switching teams and running from the grind. And I'm not saying Dame is running from the grind. I mean, if you want to demand a trade, demand a trade. If you get traded to the Celtics or the Clippers or any team that has a shot at contention, you should report to that team, in my opinion. It shouldn't be Miami Heat or bust, in my opinion. Because at the end of the day, the Portland Trail Blazers need to do what's best for them, and they did by selecting Scoot Henderson. But reportedly, the Portland Trail Blazers do not like the Miami Heat's current trade offer, which is strange considering how the Miami Heat gave the Trail Blazers a package that could net them 4 first-round picks.
There are multiple teams that would trade at least 1 first-round pick for Tyler Hero, so then you're looking at maybe potentially 3 first-round picks, maybe more, maybe other assets.
So where are we right now? Well, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, in true Miami Heat-like fashion, the Portland Trail Blazers might not have a choice but to trade Damian Lillard to the Miami Heat. Check this out.
Got a deadline in place now, really until training camp opens in late September. Are pretty well intact now after the close of free agency. Miami is the team, certainly, I think, that is most motivated to trade for Damian Lillard.
He also touches up on the Los Angeles Clippers as well. They'd like to be involved in trading for Dame, but I suppose the Portland Trail Blazers don't value the Clippers' assets.
The Los Angeles Clippers, who would love to be a part of this process, but don't necessarily have the assets to really get involved.
Woj finishes off by saying that the Trailblazers don't like what Miami has to offer, but it could be the best that they have.
Doesn't love what Miami has, but it may be the best that they can get. Going to be a process over perhaps this month for Portland to try to extract as much as they can.
Which makes this even more interesting because Portland could potentially take this all the way to training camp, and according to Ramona Shelburne, this could even go into the trade deadline and could be a Ben Simmons-like situation.
Potentially, we might be looking at another Ben Simmons situation. This guy's got 4 years on his contract. They don't have to do anything. They can take their time.
And this isn't just something that's being speculated on, because you're seeing it from the general manager of the Portland Trail Blazers, Joe Cronin. He's straight up talking about being patient.
I think what I've learned more than anything is patience is critical. Like, don't be reactive. Don't jump at things just to seemingly solve a problem. So I think that's how my approach has been with this and will be with this, is we're going to be patient. We're going to do what's best for our team. And we're going to see, how this lands. And if it takes months, it takes months.
And if there's one person that's an expert on this situation, it's none other than Sean Marks, who had to deal with this with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. And I have to admit, he handled this situation remarkably.
Well, there's a lot of noise out there, I certainly understand what Portland is going through right now, what Joe's going through right now. You have to look at it and say, okay, what's the best thing for the franchise moving forward? You know what's going on inside your house, and you manage that. And I think that's what we've managed to do.
So to give you an idea of how the trade situation's going so far, this meme explains how trade talks are going between the Miami Heat and the Portland Trail Blazers. What do I think about this? Well, at the end of the day, Damian Lillard could say,
hey, I'm not going to report to this team if you trade me to this team.
But one, it would look really bad on him. Again, I like to cite the Paul George situation from 2017 when he demanded a trade from the Indiana Pacers and warned that if it was to any team but the Los Angeles Lakers, he wouldn't sign a contract extension with them. He ended up getting traded to the OKC Thunder, and he inevitably signed a contract extension with the OKC Thunder. They threw like a whole spectacle where he announced it at a party with Russell Westbrook, and ultimately he did admit that he kind of felt pressured in that situation. But in this instance, man, I don't see Dame going to the Clippers. I think the Clippers are very content with bringing Russell Westbrook on a very small contract. I mean, a 2-year, $8 million contract is insane. You have Paul George, you have Kawhi Leonard, you have a lot of depth in that instance. You don't necessarily need Damian Lillard to come in, although a team that features Russell Westbrook coming off of the bench for Damian Lillard would be insane. For the Boston Celtics, I don't think they would actually want Damian Lillard in this instance because it would probably mean that they'd have to give up Jaylen Brown. And giving up a player that is significantly younger than Damian Lillard, that is getting better each and every season, that is part of your homegrown talent. I mean, Jaylen Brown's going into his age 27 season. That's supposed to be a player's assumed prime. I don't think it's necessarily something the Celtics would look to do, especially when Jaylen Brown, once again, is coming off of a career year for himself. The Celtics already made their big move of the offseason, trading for Kristaps Porzingis, giving up Marcus Smart to do so. So I don't necessarily think this is something that they would entertain, which brings us to the Miami Heat. And I've said this before on this channel. If the Miami Heat can offer a package that gives up a 2028 first round pick that's unprotected and a 2030 first round pick that's unprotected for Damian Lillard, the Portland Trailblazers should hop all over that. I want to be abundantly clear. The Trailblazers are in an incredible position. They had Damian Lillard for 10 seasons. Dame is about to go into his age 33 season. He's coming off of a season where he averaged 32 points per game and shot 37% from three. They should do whatever they can to trade Damian Lillard for as many assets as they possibly could so they can make sure that they're well stocked up for the Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson era. Whoever trades for Damian Lillard on the flip side is getting Dame for his age 33 season and on. What are the odds that Damian Lillard is going to be this productive when he's 35 or 36? By the way, when he turns 35, that is when his $60 million a year Supermax contract kicks in. So you also have to factor that in. With that being said, the only team that would be interested in trading for Damian Lillard at this point is the Miami Heat. The core would age at the exact same time, but the Miami Heat are notorious for being harsh negotiators. Jimmy Butler is currently going into his age 34 season. What are the odds that he is going to be productive once he's 36 or once he's 37? I hope he is, but we have to be realistic. So if the Portland Trailblazers could get a future first round pick in 2028 or 2030 from the Miami Heat, hell, even from 2026, even if they're not necessarily getting players that they want, even if they don't ask for Tyler Hero in return, even if they decide to forward Tyler Hero to another team, even if the rest of the players that they would receive are primarily there just to fill up the salary cap space to make the trade work, the only player that I think could provide any value at this point for the Portland Trailblazers would be Kyle Lowry, in the sense where he would be on the Trailblazers for a season. He would be able to be there in a mentorship type role for Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe. And I feel like at that point, each and every team would get what they want. So here's where it gets a little interesting. We got two additional pieces of information that kind of give us an idea of where Portland's at and where Miami is at. And all of this is very consistent with what we've been saying in this video so far. It's just supporting evidence of the situation. The first being that we have an idea of what the Miami Heat's trade offer to the Portland Trailblazers is. And it's one that I could understand the Portland Trailblazers being a little reluctant to take on. Now, I don't necessarily know this source and we haven't used it before, so just bear in mind, I think this is a Portland Trailblazers beat writer that is suggesting this. The Miami Heat have made a trade offer to the Portland Trailblazers centered around Tyler Hero and 3 first-round picks for Damian Lillard. Now, what do I think about that trade package? It really depends on what the draft picks are. I mean, I'm not really going to be excited about taking Miami's 2024 first-round pick, but if it's more down the line in the future and you sprinkle in some pick swaps as well, especially pick swaps way down the line, then I'd be way more interested in taking some of those draft picks. So I would need those details in order to tell you whether or not I think this is a good haul for Damian Lillard. But the additional piece of information we have to give you an idea of where Portland is at is, once again, the Portland Trailblazers are unmotivated to engage with the Miami Heat to find a deal. Now, this one is coming from a Miami Heat beat reporter named Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. The Blazers have been unmotivated to engage with the Miami Heat in an attempt to find a trade that works. Earlier this week, Aaron Fentress Fentress of the Oregonian said on the Blazer Focus podcast that Miami's recent offer to the Blazers included Tyler Hero, 3 first-round draft picks, possibly a young player, and a filler. Fentress noted that Portland hopes to come out of a deal for Lillard with 4 first-round picks and at least 1 or 2 young players. So we're in a situation where we need to discuss who has the leverage here. At the end of the day, you have to admit, Portland Trailblazers hold the leverage here. They hold the leverage over Damian Lillard. They hold the leverage over the Miami Heat. Worst case scenario, yeah, Damian Lillard could be shut down until the middle of the season. It's not necessarily the greatest look, but you're the Portland freaking Trailblazers. With all due respect, you're not seeing marquee free agents going to Portland to build super teams, meaning that they need to make the most out of the situation and make sure that they get an adequate return on the greatest trade chip they've had in the past 2 decades in order to ensure their future success for building around Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe. I think the Miami Heat's offer of 3 first-round picks and Tyler Hero isn't necessarily the worst offer you could get in this situation, but I do think the Trailblazers could get way more, and I think the Trailblazers know that, because the more this drags on into the middle of the season, the more the Miami Heat's championship window is closing shut. You want Damian Lillard to be in Miami as soon as possible to get acclimated to his brand new surroundings and hopefully are able to win a championship within the next 2 years. Doing that through a mid-season trade definitely mitigates your opportunity to win a championship. I don't remember the last time a team was able to win a championship after bringing in a superstar via a mid-season trade or just a mid-season overhaul in general. I mean, you look at the Los Angeles Lakers from the trade deadline this past year, and the thing I typically say about the Lakers is the reason why they weren't able to succeed against the Denver Nuggets is the Denver Nuggets had at least minimum with their core players had 5 years playing with one another. Well, except for Michael Porter Jr., he was in and out of injuries during the beginning of his career. Aaron Gordon was acquired a little bit more recently, but my point being is none of these players were acquired throughout the trade deadline this year. When you compare that to the Los Angeles Lakers, they played remarkably with one another after completely changing their team during the trade deadline. But ultimately, that lack of familiarity came to bite them in the postseason. So I think the Portland Trailblazers hold all the leverage in this situation, and it seems like they're going to stand pat at their request for 4 first-round picks with 1 to 2 young players. Do I think this is going to go up until the trade deadline? No, I think we're going to get an answer within the next month and a half, but I could be wrong. It depends how much the Portland Trailblazers want to drag out this negotiation. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about all this? I don't necessarily know the next time I'm going to make a video on this subject unless there's significant stuff happening behind the scenes, but we had enough information to get to you guys to let you know where each side is on a possible Damian Lillard trade. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.